With Jurassic World Dominion being delayed until 2022, Jurassic fans are left wondering what Jurassic World content we have to look forward to in 2021. There have been some things announced to be released next year, but will it be enough? Let's take a look at what Universal Studios has slated for 2021. Shortly after Universal announced Jurassic World Dominion would be delayed until June 2022, a teaser trailer for Season 2 of Netflix's Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous was dropped, announcing the series' return in 2021. Camp Cretaceous' first season was received to mostly good reviews after its September release of this year, so a second season is a welcome sight for next year. But will it be enough to hold fans over until 2022? There's also the announcement of the Jurassic World Aftermath VR game for the Oculus that is giving Jurassic fans something to look forward to for 2020's holiday season. The VR games are a little hit and miss, however, and the games that have been released are a little different than a regular gaming experience. Some VR games are lauded for their genuinely unique storytelling elements, but then some games are seen as more just engrossing movies. Jurassic World has had a VR experience that was released around Fallen Kingdom back in 2018, and people enjoyed it, but it was seen as little more than a glorified ad for the movie. It wasn't interactive, it wasn't much of a game as much of an on-rails storytelling device, and it was fine time for those who got to experience it. But hopefully Jurassic World Aftermath will be able to tell an interesting story while also having a good gaming experience. But Aftermath, the VR game, and Camp Cretaceous, the Netflix show, are the only storytelling media forms we're currently aware of for next year, now with the absence of Jurassic World Dominion. Universal Studios Orlando has announced the Velocicoaster to open next year as well, but that isn't the world-deepening media that the movies, games, and books provide. It's no secret Universal Studios sees Jurassic World as one of its two biggest franchises in its portfolio, with the other being the Despicable Me franchise. But according to an article by Forbes back in June of this year, Jurassic World was lauded as the most profitable franchise on the planet. The franchise hasn't made the most gross money, but it makes the best return on its investments. For context, Marvel makes a 4.99 times rate of return on its investments into the franchise, whereas Jurassic Park and World makes around an 8.13 times rate of return on its investments. Universal knows that Jurassic World is now an incredibly lucrative franchise, but it wasn't always the case. During the 90s and early 2000s, Jurassic Park content was prevalent in many forms of media. There were video games, comic books, the opening of the theme parks, and loads of toys. Jurassic Park toys were on every store's toy shelves and were popular for the mixture of dinosaurs and military-themed action figures that the experience provided. There was a steep drop-off of the franchise's popularity, however, after Jurassic Park 3 in 2001, and Jurassic Park went all but dormant for 14 years. The franchise still had its core fans, but it was nothing like the popularity the brand got to enjoy during the 90s. It wasn't until 2015 when the franchise roared back into the limelight with Jurassic World, and it reignited interest in that universe. But that wasn't the only movie franchise returning that year. Star Wars also made its new debut under Disney's control that December, and thus made a bigger splash because of its larger notoriety. But both franchises have been releasing media regularly over the past 5 years, however not with the same reception. Jurassic World has maintained an overall positive rating from its fans since 2015, but Disney's Star Wars has been through some extreme scrutiny, with many people negatively responding to much Star Wars media since 2015. Colin Trevorrow, the creative head of the Jurassic World films, along with Steven Spielberg, as well as a person who was originally meant to direct Episode 9 of the Star Wars sequel trilogy films, has to have been watching the reception of Disney oversaturating the market with Star Wars content. It would be easy to think that he wanted to avoid that treatment with the fledgling Jurassic World brand. But it is now 5 years after the first movie, and the fan base has been created for that franchise. It's time for Universal to release more Jurassic World content beyond just the toys. I'm hoping that Universal is looking at the huge opportunity to work up to Jurassic World Dominion's now later release date with extra media to help hype the excitement for 2022. We do have a VR game this December, a Netflix series and a roller coaster coming next year, but what if Universal also broke into other forms of media in 2021? I would enjoy seeing the return of Jurassic Park comic books. In the 90s, Topps released comic books for both Jurassic Park and The Lost World, which don't fit the modern universe perfectly, but they were interesting and they told fun stories. what if Universal contracted out comic books to be made about the intermediary time between The Lost World and Masrani Global's acquisition of InGen and Jurassic Park? Or maybe a comic book on some isolated incidents involving dinosaurs on the mainland, similar to Colin Trevorrow's short film, Battle at Big Rock. I think that these would be quite popular, especially if they were canon stories that told of the greater effects of dinosaurs being cloned in the modern world. And we've already seen examples of what the comics could look like through some videos that have been released by Jurassic World's YouTube channel. And then beyond comic books, what about some more novels? So far, the only full-length spin-off story told as a novel is the book The Evolution of Claire, telling the story of Claire Deering as a young intern at Masrani Global before her rise to the operations manager of Jurassic World. We need more books like these to help expand the story of the Jurassic World universe. But finally, and what I want to see the most, and hopefully will come out in 2021, is a video game featuring an individual living in the world with dinosaurs that roam free and having to survive in it. Or even better, this individual having to be tasked with responding to the dinosaur threat with lethal force. Any of these things would help deepen the story and give more interesting content for Jurassic fans in 2021, in spite of the absence of Jurassic World Dominion. But what do you think? What media do you hope to see from Jurassic World in 2021? Leave a comment below with your thoughts, and if you like this video, please leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like it. But with that, know you are loved, and I'll see you in the next video. And before we go, I want to make mention of the incredible online t-shirt store, TEELOBITE. TEELOBITE is an online store dedicated to making dinosaur designs that are incredible for any dinosaur enthusiast out there. Make sure to check out TEELOBITE by clicking on the link to their store in the description down below.